Martis de Mala, the 1470 to 15 something. Opera by Paul Hindemith. So we carry on with the little prince. Then my son said, the little prince reminded him, for he never forgot any question once he had asked it. You shall have your sunset. I shall command it, but according to my science of government, I shall wait until conditions are favorable. When will that be? Inquired the little prince. Replied the king. Before saying anything else, he consulted a bulky almanac. That will be that will be this evening about 20 minutes to 8, and you will see how well I am obeyed. The little prince yawned. He was regretting his lost sunset. Then, too, he was already beginning to be a little bored. I have nothing more to do here, he said to the king. So I shall set out on my way again. Do not go, said the king, who was very proud of having a subject. Do not go. I will make you a minister. Minister of what? A minister of justice. But there is nobody here to judge. We do not know that, the king said to him. I have not yet made a complete tour of my kingdom. I am very old. There is no room here for a carriage, and it tires me to walk. Oh, but I have looked already, said the little prince, turning around to give one more glance to the other side of the planet. And on that side, as is on this, there was nobody at all. Then you shall judge yourself, the king answered. That is the most difficult thing of all. It is much more difficult to judge oneself than to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself, then you are indeed a man of true wisdom. Yes, said the little prince, but I can judge myself anywhere. I do not need to live on this planet. Said the king. I have good reason to believe that somewhere on my planet there is an old rat. I hear him at night. Judge this old rat from time to time will condemn him to death. Thus his life will depend on your justice. But you will pardon him on each occasion, for he must be treated thriftily. He is the only one we have. I, replied the little prince, do not like to condemn anyone to death, and now I think I will go on my way. No, said the king. But the little prince, having now completed his preparations for departure, had no wish to grieve the old monarch. If your majesty wishes to be promptly obeyed, he said, you should be able to give me a reasonable order. He should be able, for example, to order me to be gone by the end of 1 minute. Seems to me that conditions are favorable. Clever. She just wants to get away, you see. So basically, he's thinking, if the king can obey anything, you can order me to go in 1 minute. As the king made no answer, the little prince hesitated a moment. Then with a sigh he took his leave. I'll make you my ambassador, the king called out hastily. He had a magnificent air of authority. The grown-ups are very strange, the little prince said to himself as he continued on his journey. The second planet was inhabited by a conceited man. I'm about to receive a visit from an admirer, he exclaimed from afar, when he first saw the little prince coming. For to conceited men all other men are admirers. Good morning, said the little prince. That is a hat you are wearing. It is a hat for salutes, the conceited man replied. It is to raise and salute. Fortunately, nobody at all ever passes this way. Yes, said the little prince, who did not understand what the conceited man was talking about. Clap your hands one against against the other, the conceited man now directed him. The little prince clapped his hands. The conceited man raised his hat in a modest salute. This is more entertaining than the visit to the king. Yet, the little prince said to himself, and he began again to clap his hands, The conceited man again raised his hat in salute. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince grew tired of the game's monotony. And what should one do to make the hat come down? He asked, but the conceited man did not hear him. Conceited people never hear anything but praise. Ah, do you really admire me very much? He demanded of the little prince. What does that mean, admire? To admire means that you regard me as the handsomest, the best dressed, the richest, and the most intelligent man on this planet. But you're the only man on the planet. Do me this kindness, admire me just the same. I admire you, said the little prince, shrugging his shoulders slightly. But what is there in that to interest you so much? And the little prince went away. The grown-ups are certainly very odd, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. The next planet was inhabited by a tippler. This was a very short visit, but it plunged the little prince into deep dejection. What are you doing here? He said to the tippler, whom he found settled down in silence before a collection of empty bottles and also a collection of full bottles. I'm a-drinking, replied the tippler, with a lugubrious air. I'm a-drinking, So that I may forget. That's why he was drinking, replied the tippler. Forget what? Inquired the little prince, who already was sorry for him. Forget what? Give me up with your Forget that I'm ashamed, the tippler confessed, hanging his head. Ashamed of what? Insisted the little prince, who wanted to help him. Ashamed of drinking? The tippler brought his speech to an end and shut himself up in an impregnable silence, and the little prince went away puzzled. The grown-ups are certainly very, very odd, he said to himself as he continued on his journey.